Welcome to self-discoverywisdom.com, formerly known as Self-Discovery Media. On these podcasts, you're going to hear people who speak from the heart. They've taken the journey in life. Many things have happened to them, but they've changed it to happening for them. And in their strength, their courage, they've discovered their abilities and their wisdom, and they are now sharing it here with you. Do enjoy each show. We bring it to you with love and knowing that it's going to help you on your journey of life. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Their Story Matters right here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. I'm your host, Sarah Troy, and my guest today is Mark Brodinsky. We're going to be talking about how lives matter. All lives matter. And it's really important that we actually know that. He says the matter movement was created to respond to what has been described as the deepest principle of human nature, the craving to be appreciated. It's not just a want or a need or a desire like food and shelter. Those are tangible things. This is literally wired in our DNA as humans. The unending craving to feel valued and appreciated. The You Matter movement is a key driver of his mission to get 1 billion people to believe they matter on a deep level. That ripple effect can impact 8 billion people on this planet. I am completely with you there. It is who we are is who we project out to other people. And if we know we matter, that we count, that whatever our contribution is a part of that collective solution to the planet, we all then understand why and where we matter. But we're not told it enough, are we? Everything is the outside living and not the inside out living. And we're constantly in search of, do we matter to anybody? Do we count? Does anybody see us? And I think, it doesn't really matter what color or package we come in. We want to know we count, that we are contributing, we are seen, because that is that human nature of what's the purpose of me being here? So welcome to the show, Mark.
Thank you, Sarah. It's a pleasure to be here. You matter too.
Everyone matters. That's the
You matter.
point, isn't it? We concentrate so much on differences, our different opinion, different points of view, different skin color, different religions, different economic situations, different, and that we don't actually see where we are the same. And if we could see the common denominators, do you think that then we could actually be able to see each other for who we really are?
I think if we take a look at where we came from, we all came from the exact same place, our mother's womb. That's where we all started, right? No one was brought here different. So
No
we all
cloning as yet.
correct, right? Naked and afraid.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have, hopefully a brain, a heart, and lungs to help keep us going. So in that way, we're all exactly the same. And then it's about the differences that actually make us unique and special. So we
Yeah.
shouldn't be looking at other people's differences and going, oh, they don't matter because they're not like me. Well, how
Mm.
can you expect they would be? Your uniqueness is what makes you incredible. You're a miracle, a masterpiece, and a hero. Everyone is born that way. Then it's up to you and your surroundings to make sure that hopefully you're going to live up to your potential, because I believe that that life should be doing all you can with all you have been given. And if you make that your goal, right, growth in anything that you do, even the smallest increment of growth, compounded over time leads to big things. And so we all have that inside of us. Unfortunately, we look around us, like you said, and go, oh, I'm not like that person or like that person. I don't fit in there. I don't fit in here. That's okay. But why do you want to be like them? Then you're wearing a
Mm.
mask. In fact, I'm working on my You Matter book right now, and a whole chapter about the mask that we all wear. And the mask is not showing ourselves to the world because we are afraid. Our deepest fear, besides craving, our deepest fear is that people will not love us for who we are. We're so
Rejection.
afraid to not be
Mm-hmm.
loved.
Mm. I think we're more afraid of rejection than
Mm-hmm.
we are of actually stepping into love. I also think an awful lot of people have forgotten what really love is. It's when you love another and there's a relationship. No, way beyond that. There's a love of your parents as you grow, your siblings as you grow, the pets, your grandparents, where you are, your school life in itself, the love of play, the love of joy. We throw the word love around, but it is the root energy of everything, isn't it?
And it's unconditional love. That's what
Yes.
we're all looking for. Like you said, the deepest principle of human nature is the craving to be appreciated. It's more important to us than sex or money.
Yes.
I think that that's what we all are looking for, right? But it's not, if we
Hmm.
don't have love and approval and appreciation and people accepting us, because although we might say, hey, I don't care what other people think, it's impossible because built into your DNA is the craving to be appreciated.
Yeah.
So it's your most basic human principle. I mean, that's why I have this You Matter movement, right? And I have
Hmm.
the cards and give those out, and it's bigger than that now. But I want to make sure that we're on the path to try to get everybody to believe that inside of themselves. And imagine if everyone believed that they matter, because
Mm.
then you go out and get what it is that you want because you believe in you. Because it's an inside out game, right? So that's what life
Totally.
is. Introspective. You can control this. I can't control everything going on around me for the
Right.
most part, right? Especially the rest of the world. And so if all you
Mm.
do is focus on that, which a lot of people do through social media and the news. I mean, the news, you have a drug dealer in your bedroom and in your living room, and that's your television. And it's
Yes.
feeding you things that they want you to see. I worked in TV for 15 years as a news producer and a reporter. And so I come to this with
Mm.
legitimacy. And
Hmm.
all you see is the box, just like right now. You can't see what's on the other side of this camera, right?
Hmm.
I could have people dancing and screaming. I mean, you would hear them, but I could have other things going on you
Yes.
can't see because all you see is what's in the camera. So, and I don't know if people are watching or listening, but the same thing with television. So when all they're showing you is what's happening, that news event in front of you, you can't see the beautiful things maybe going on outside of that. And that's
Hmm.
all they're allowing you to focus on. So what you focus on expands. And if that's all you look at,
Yeah.
that's the way you see the world because your perception's your reality. And if all you perceive is that the world sucks, I got news for you. The world has always been a circus. It will always be a circus.
Yes.
And we have to
Yes.
have sympathy and compassion and empathy, but there's only so much that you can do. And the best thing you can do is to believe in yourself. And like I said, do all you can with all you have been given. And if you do
Mm.
that, the world around you will change because your perception.
100%. I call it the Fox News thing where they take a pimple and make it into a volcanic eruption. All right. And let's face it, fear is a form of control.
Mhm.
And when they keep you in fear, they keep you paralyzed to feel you are empowered to do anything. And that sense of love and sense of self-worth comes from your own empowerment of what you're capable of doing. If they take that away from you, then what are you? Just a fearful being who's chasing something, never to believe that you can find it. But when we empower each other, empower ourselves to step in and see how resilient we are, how strong we are, how courageous we are, what abilities we have, what beautiful instrument we are, and how we can play it as a soloist or join an orchestra and create a symphony. We're all part of that collective, but we are the individuals in that collective. What are we bringing to the table? Are we bringing beautiful, nutritious food that we can all dive into and be fortified with? Are we bringing takeout food that's not going to serve anyone? You know what I'm talking about. It's again is who are we? What are we doing? And when we nurture and love ourselves and we step into our beautiful, meaningful purpose, we have now elevated ourselves up to being loving beings that aren't doing, we're being. And in that beingness of what we are, we illuminate other people along the way. And we see the possibilities in other people. We see the love in everything around us. And we step into that beautiful word, gratitude. And I think gratitude really needs to be looked at. We've got so much whining going on of, I don't have, I don't have. Those are things. What are you grateful for? Did you wake up this morning? Wow, be grateful you opened your eyes.
The attitude of gratitude is what changes everything,
It does.
right? So if you're grateful, it's so here's the concept of gratitude. It's a great point you bring up, Sarah, because when you are grateful and that's all and that's what you're focusing on in the moment, it's impossible to be scared and miserable at the same time
Yeah.
because it pushes out fear and misery, just like fear and misery pushes out the gratitude. So
Mm.
focusing on what you're grateful for is a huge piece of loving yourself because the more you are grateful, the things that you start to see are silver linings and
Yes.
gratitude. That's what you're
Mm.
looking for. And then you notice things around you to be grateful for that you didn't pay attention to
Hmm.
before. It's like when you buy a new car or you're looking for a new car. I'm looking for one right now, right? And
Mm.
as I get on the road, every car I see is the car that I'm looking for. All of a
Yeah.
sudden, I'm tuned to that. So you're looking,
Yes.
all of a sudden, your awareness is, oh, that's that vehicle. Oh, I see it. I wasn't looking before, I didn't see it.
Mm. You
You
didn't pay
start to look for
attention. Mm.
gratitude. Yeah, pay
Mm.
attention. It's the same thing. In fact, I know this, it's a worldwide broadcast, right? I mean, so
Yes.
In America, Thanksgiving is coming up in 10 days. So anyone watching in the US, I will give you the secret to the greatest Thanksgiving gift you can ever give anyone. In fact, I just did a reel about it on my Instagram page. So we're 10 days away. All right. If you took a piece of paper or even on your computer, Word document, and you pick 3 to 5 people, and every day for the next 10 days, you write down 3 things that you're grateful for about them. And then on that holiday, you deliver that letter to them or that piece of paper in an envelope, or even email to them if you're not going to be close to them. They have never gotten anything like that in their lives, I promise you. And it will change your relationship with them too, because it's like, wow, this person took the time to write 30 things about me that they're grateful for. It's 3 a day. You don't have to sit there and try to think about them all at once, but then people get stressed, right? 3 a day. It's easy. It's easy.
There's something that we do around our table, Christmas, Thanksgiving, etc. And my son adopted it one when he has staff parties, because he does a staff party Thanksgiving. He owns a restaurant, and he adopted the same thing. And it's going around the table of what we're grateful for. What are we grateful for? And it was so beautiful to see it being done at the restaurant of people there. I'm grateful for working here. I'm grateful for the people I've met. I'm grateful for the family. And like people were in tears at the end of it, because it raised such a beautiful, I see you, I feel you, we are in this together, we've got each other. And I think that, it's so important not only to be grateful for the food that is placed before us, but those that placed it before us, those that grew it, those that went through the 5 o'clock mornings, as farmers. If we reversed our gratitude to the root that it came from, I think, how can we not step into appreciation?
What you focus on expands. And so you want to take, it's beautiful. And that's a great, we used to do that too when I was younger. And even when I got newly married, to go around the table and to express gratitude. To 10x that, if you put it in writing, right? And you hand it to someone, then they have it all year long. And they can reflect back on that. And a time that maybe you're not as close, or things aren't going well, or even they just want to remember that they matter. And they look at this, wow, this person with 30 things about me that they're grateful for. I must be okay. I must be more than I think I am in the moment, because somebody wrote this down, and I have it as a permanent reminder of the greatness inside of me, because we all have it.
But it's also like you think I can do this, you see me as that, and they don't see themselves as that. And it's like, but I see you as this. I see these 30 things about you that I celebrate. And somebody reading it goes like, what? I don't see that of myself. And so it's like, if others see me that way, what am I missing? What do I need to turn my eyes in on and reflect on? If others can see it and I can't see it in myself. I always say inspiration begets invitation. When you're inspired, it's an invitation to act on it, to do something about it, to see something within yourself, right? And this is that appreciation of each other, that gratitude, appreciation of each other, of I see you, I feel you, I'm grateful for you, is such a huge thing. It is a love vibration. It says, I care. Boy, do we need a lot more I care in the world.
Because there's too much I don't care, right?
Right.
Or I don't you, or think you're different than me, so I'm going to hate you. So there's too much of that going on. And so,
or I don't want to be involved, or it's nothing to do with me, right? And that everything's to do with you, whether it is or it isn't. Yes.
We're all linked. I mean, in my book, I talk about the fact that when a person dies on the earth, you don't feel it physically.
Yeah.
But there's energy that's lost, especially if they don't go after what it is they could have been.
Yeah.
So when you don't share your gifts and talents and your abilities with the world because you're too afraid to let it out, to be you, if you pass with that still inside of you, we've all lost.
Yeah.
You never brought to fruition what it is and who you are and what you could do. And it doesn't have to be this huge thing. It could be something so small, but we missed out on it because you were too afraid to show who you really are. And so the world loses. And every time that happens, the world gets a little bit less because you couldn't be more. And you can be more, and you are more, and you're already born with everything that it is that you need. You just got to enhance it, right? Which means going inside, doing introspective work, writing, reading, not doing things or paying attention to things are going to bring you down, hanging out with the right people, because you're the product of the 4 or 5 people you spend the most time with. Where they're going, you're going. So make sure your associations are going to back up what it is that you want to do, and have the right atmosphere or environment around you. It's not always easy because sometimes
Mm.
people put in situations where they can't break out, but you could still go inside. You can still
Right.
take time, whether it's meditation,
Yes.
reading, or just music or whatever it
Storytelling.
is. Like,
That was my escape, storytelling, going
yeah,
off into a different
storytelling.
dimension, right? So whatever that escape can be, but don't turn it in on yourself as harming yourself, which some people do. You know, struggle is a part of life. It's how we grow, it's how we evolve. But suffering is something we don't have to go through. Now, I know there are some people that have been inflicted with suffering that it suppresses them so much they don't see a way out. And this is where somewhere we have to see that suffering and reach out and help that person out. A struggle is just showing you your abilities, your capabilities, that you are so much more. It's kind of earning those stripes and becoming that beautiful essence of who you are. If it was easy, everybody would do it. That little struggle is just showing us how capable and the abilities we have. But for those that are suffering in a way where they just don't see anything, nothing is reflected out there. They can't look in because it's suffering inside and out. We have to care enough to put out a hand, to coat them with white loving light, to do something that can show them the door out themselves. They've got to be willing to walk it. But somewhere along the line, we've got to open that door to that suffering and show them you don't have to suffer. You can step out. We're here to help.
One word and one gesture can change someone's life. You
Yeah,
just got to make the effort. So, I mean, that's my You Matter campaign. I can tell you, hand out these cards. There's a smaller version. I have the business cards here, right? So I keep them in my pocket.
right.
And you cannot imagine the response I get from people who I hand it to because they all forget in the moment that they matter. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
in the book, I'm going to tell a story about a woman I met a couple of years ago. She's a cashier at a grocery store, and it's always the same thing that I do, which is I'll ask you your name.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a woman, it's beautiful. If it's a man, hey, that's cool. And then tell you mine and hand you the card.
Mm-hmm.
And then within 5 seconds, I'm walking away. I'm not
Yeah.
there to have a long conversation, not because I don't care, but I don't want, this is not about me, it's about you, reminding you that you matter. So this woman, as it turned out, I got an email because my email used to be on the back of the cards. Now I have a QR code for my Instagram page, but she emailed me a few hours later. I was sitting down with my then girlfriend, now wife, and I get this email, and it's this woman. She says, "I just met you in the store." A much longer version, but she says, or much shorter version. She says, "You handed me this card. We exchanged just some quick conversation." She goes, I want you to know how much this meant to me because for a
Mm-hmm.
very long time now, I haven't been in a good way, and I
Yeah.
really was thinking that I don't need to be here anymore." And
Uh-huh.
so your card, she said, I sat in my car and I just cried while I read
Mm.
those two words. She said, my life is just not going well. And I didn't know what I was going to do. And she said, you might have saved a life today.
Yeah.
So I immediately emailed her back and gave her some, suicide hotline because I was afraid. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
her.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't know exactly what to do, but it seemed like she was going to be okay by her last sentence saying, you
Mm.
might have saved a life today, which means it seems she was going to stick around. So when I went to do the book, I reached back out to her 6 months later. And I can tell you, Sarah, that I emailed her and said, hey, just checking up. I'm going to be working on this book called You Matter. I just want to make sure that things are going well. She emails me back. She says, Mark, you can't imagine how my life has changed.
Mm-hmm.
She quit the job. She's studying to be trained to be an EMT, emergency services
Mm-hmm.
technician. And she said, it's not all sunshine and roses, but she's got a new group of friends around her. She sees that life is beautiful. And she said, thank you for your gesture because it just made the difference in me starting to, like you said, they have to step into it, but
Yes.
the 2 words in the moment
Yes.
maybe saved a life, stopped her
Yes.
from not being here anymore, which I
Right.
I will never forget. And if you only impact one person like that,
Exactly.
wow.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And, in doing this for 11 and a half years, you never know if it's impacting someone's life or not, because, people aren't always great on comments, but every now and again, you get someone say, that show saved my life, or that show changed my life. That show had an impact on my life. And then you're reminded why you keep doing what you're doing, because even what we're doing can have struggles with it. But when you find something that you're so compelled to do, you're so passionate about doing it because it's so meaningful to you do it no matter what. No matter if you're in pain, no matter if you're suffering, you do it because you know that driving energy that you're out there feeding everyone else is also regenerating you. And I think when people can understand that the giving and the caring and the kindness and the loving actually is part of your energy generator. The more you give, the more you generate. They'll actually understand that that's where I can put my energy. That's where I can make the difference. Letting people know they matter. They're a part of that positive equation. We know the earth is in trouble. We know that we're in trouble as humanity here right now, and we're at that crossroads. And we've got to choose what we're going to feed.
Mhm.
Now, are we going to feed each other in a positive manner? Are we going to come together in that beautiful orchestra and play beautifully together? Or are we going to keep focusing on, well, no, you're different. No, your religion isn't the same, so therefore I must annihilate you. What?
Right.
What? No, all life matters. I've had birthed 3 children. I know what it's like to go through the pregnancies and the birthing. I didn't do that for them not to matter.
Right.
Right? So everybody matters. But I think what we have to start off with, as you did for this woman, matter to yourself, right? It's important you matter to yourself. Then you will understand why everybody else matters.
When you inflict pain, like you talked about, Sarah,
Mm.
the pain you're inflicting is just a projection of what you're feeling inside, which is the pain
Yes,
that you have. And so it's
yes.
just a projection out into the world, unfortunately. And then you end up hurting other people because of it. It's
Mm.
just projection. I mean, I've
Hmm.
had to work on that my own life, just projection, things that I was projecting. You realize in a relationship, oh, maybe that's me and not the other person.
Hmm.
Maybe that's my insecurity coming
Yeah,
out and just me throwing it on the other person, going, here's my monkey, you take it. And it's not really they don't deserve that. They have
no.
their own monkeys to deal with, right?
Yes,
So it's and that's why I showed you, I keep this note on my desk. Your struggle will be your gift that the world will fall in love with. So
exactly.
embrace your struggle.
Yes.
Embrace, turn around, instead of running from your demons,
Hmm.
turn around and hug them and go, oh, this is who I am. This is the struggle. It didn't happen to you. It happened for you.
For you.
You have to be a buffalo in life and not a cow.
Yeah.
So a cow runs from the storm. Storms in the US usually move west to east, right? So the cow sees the storm from the west, starts running east. Unfortunately, the storm's going to catch up with them because they're not that fast. And then they're going to be in the storm the entire time, right? Much
Mm.
longer and more painful than if they had run into it, gone through it, and gotten to the other side like a
Yeah.
buffalo does. And on the other side of that storm is beauty. There's
Yes.
sunshine, there's blue skies. You just got to
Yes.
get through it. So when you can do that, now you've shortened the pain, you've shortened the resistance, and you're making progress. You took one step toward what it is that's bothering you or that you're struggling with, instead of taking 2 steps away from it
Hmm.
and saying, I'm just going to run from this and never deal with it. You don't deal with it. We call those running parachutes. I'm a master mind power coach, and those are running parachutes, like fear,
Yeah.
anxiety,
Holding
stress,
you back. Hmm.
self-worth, limiting belief, holding you
Hmm.
back. What the runner does, puts a parachute behind them to create resistance. You cut
Yes.
the resistance behind you in life, then you go get what it is quicker and faster than you ever thought possible, and come back from the adversity that you're going to face, which is inevitable in life, because that's the way
Yeah.
life is laid out. It's
Yeah.
challenge.
Part
Life
of
is
that's
challenge,
part of our
crisis,
growth.
consequence.
Yeah.
Right.
When your t-shirt says be resilient, and people go, well, what is resilience? I'm tough, I'm resilient. No, it's not toughness, right? It's actually kindness in being resilient. It's being in tune to, how much you can do, and knowing when to pull back. I know that's costing me too much of myself. I need to put that loving care onto myself right now before I go out and give it to someone else. That resilience is being able to weather those storms and we come out the other end, but you need to take a breath now. That's fine. Take a breath. Doesn't mean you've got to rush out and do. It's a pause in life, reflect in life, feel your life, be a part of your life. And then you'll actually see the clarity of life.
when you when you can find a way to love yourself, then you can expect other people to love you. When you don't
Mm.
love you, how can you expect someone else to provide you that love?
Actually,
Because it's not attractive, right? I mean,
no.
who wants, no one wants to be around fear and misery. Matter of fact, no one wants to be around people that complain. So have
Mm.
you ever heard the phrase that when you complain, 80% of the people you complain to don't care, and 20% are glad it's you. So you got
Yes.
100% of people when you complain who don't care
Yes.
at all.
Yeah. I often say this, but the universe gave me a saying some years ago that the world is going to be shaken up to wake up, for us to step up and change it up and grow up vibrationally, but also grow up, right? Quit whining over everything and look at what you have. Look at who you really are. What you're selling yourself short on is also shortening everything else for everyone else. It's like we've become a lot of whiners, and I think it's because we have too much thrown at us that you've got to have this, you've got to have that. You've got to have the latest car, you've got to have this apartment, you've got to dress this way, you've got to have this many likes, you've got to have the Kardashian butt, you've got to have all that to make you happy. And if you're chasing that, guaranteed you are never going to find happiness in. Never. So we have to stop buying what's out there, like the news, and start looking inside and being still and being quiet and going, who am I? What do I need for me to be the best me I can be to give?
Exactly. And so that you do that by doing things like reading,
Mm-hmm.
because, and by the way, books are free. There's something
Mm.
called a library. If you have a
Yes.
card, right? You don't have to say, I can afford books. Well, yes, you can. Or, I mean, nowadays you could probably find half of the books online
Yeah.
in a transcript, in a PDF,
Mm-hmm.
and read the stories of other people and read the lessons that they are
Yeah.
sharing, because they want you to read them. They want you to steal.
Yes.
Picasso was a great artist, right? And he had a
Mm.
great line, which is lesser artists borrow, great artists steal.
Mm-hmm.
Steal their ideas, steal their philosophies,
Yeah.
steal their stories and use them for you, because you're going to modify it to fit your life and
Yeah.
your world. And then you can go out and give more. So,
Yes.
if you want to have more, you must become more.
Yeah.
You can't have what you don't, you can't give what you're not. So if there's nothing to give,
Yeah.
there's nothing to give. So if you create more of yourself and you become more, then you have more to give. And if you want, there's a saying, if you want things to change, you have to change. If you want things to
100%.
get better,
Mm-hmm.
you have to get better. Work
Mm-hmm.
harder on yourself than you do on your job,
Mm-hmm.
because working hard on you, you can create a fortune. Work on your job, you make a living. Work on you,
Yes.
it's
Yeah.
wealth, and it's wealth that goes beyond dollars and
Mm.
cents. It's what you give to the world, because we all want you to be the very best version of yourself, and that's what will attract us. And sharing your vulnerability and your story and your struggles and how you got through it, because we all learn from your scars. We want to know about your scars,
Yeah.
because they teach us things. They teach us either what to do or what not to do, right? Maybe there's a lesson in there and you learned something that took you down, and we're like, oh, now we know not to do that. Or you did
Yeah.
something that magnified your goodness, right? And your talents and abilities. You're like, oh, maybe I should try that too, because I also want to be the very best version of me. And I see this person doing that. So that's why you look at icons, and true icons are taking their talent and ability to the nth degree. That's
Yeah.
why they're icons. We're looking at them going, oh, they're amazing. Well, you were born amazing too.
Yes.
They just made a
Yes.
decision to take what they've got to the nth degree.
Again, that's that inspiration begets the invitation. Now,
Mm-hmm.
it's not an invite for you to become them. They're already taken.
Right.
It's an invite to find that same illumination inside of you and switch it on. It's, I've been a podcaster 11 and a half years, and people say, well, do you do it like so-and-so and like so-and-so? Or why don't you do it like so-and-so? And say, they're all taken. I do it like Sarah. People can listen or not listen. It's free will. They can either hear something that we are going to share or not. My motto is listen, learn, and apply, because there is always something you're going to get out of a podcast that is relevant to where you are right now. And you can apply it to your life that can make your life better. So as you say, read, I also say listen, TED Talks, podcasts, even certain YouTubes, etc. The wisdom today is being freely, literally freely shared. It's there for you. Soak it up. Take it in. Let it be your building blocks.
Mm-hmm.
Not back in my day where we're all navigating in the dark, not knowing where to go. The light is on. Pay attention to what you're seeing and what you're hearing.
It's never lack of resources, just a lack of resourcefulness. So go out and find what it
Yes.
is that will make you better, because like you say, it's everywhere, but you got to pay attention to the right stuff, because you want to pay attention to the wisdom, not the witchery.
Right.
Witchery is the media feeding you different things, and social media feeding you different things, which is just a facade of someone's
The
actual
fake
life.
news. Yes.
And fake book, right? If you pull
Yes.
back the curtain on someone's life, then
Yeah.
you see backstage.
Yeah.
All you show on social media is you in front of the curtain
Mm-hmm.
performing. And that's great. And maybe it's entertaining, but what's really going on? There's no
Yeah.
way your life is all sunshine and roses. And maybe it is because you've worked on it, but it still doesn't mean there's not a struggle
And
that you're dealing
scars
with.
along the way. Exactly.
And even now, everyone you'll ever meet in your entire life is going through something.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's
We
great.
don't escape that. And if they say they're not, then they're in la la land. You know, we've all had the roller coaster life, right? And it's just a question of did you hold on enough or did you derail? You know, and sometimes we derailed and so we had to pick ourselves back up again, right? That's, but I always say it doesn't matter what business you're doing. I really don't care what you're doing. It's who you are. Because if I believe in you and who you are, the authenticity of who you are as a human being, now I want to know what you're doing. But we place so
What
much emphasis on the doing and not the being.
you do is just a consequence of who you are, hopefully.
Yes.
I mean, my You Matter movement came to me just out of the blue completely, but I'm in a mastermind group, and about 8 years ago, I just decided we have a year-end review, and I said, my mission, I feel it, my movement is this You Matter
Mm.
movement, positively impact the lives of 1 billion people, and if I could
Absolutely.
get to 1 billion, the ripple effect will affect all 8 billion. And
Yes.
this mind power group I joined with Steph and Shay, their mission is also to
Mm.
positively impact the lives of 1 billion people. I was like, wow, I never would have found them if I hadn't had this own mission myself. And
Mm-hmm.
then connect with
Like
my
attracts like.
awareness of,
Yes.
all right, universe eventually
Yes.
brings you together because
Yes. The
God wants
orchestra.
you to collaborate.
Yes. Yes.
We all want to make things better, and we need numbers to do it. We need
Yeah.
power in numbers, just like there's power, unfortunately, in numbers when it comes to the bad things. There's power in number for the good things.
But I think what it is when you look at the bad things and the people that are doing the bad things, they're lost souls, they're disconnected hearts. They're people that are chasing something around trying to matter and trying to make themselves matter in all the wrong ways, right? But when we actually look at where the goodness lies, there's more good in people, more positive in people, but nobody covers that. I mean, that's my mission. My
Right.
mission is to bring people on like you who have the solution, have the ideas, have the passion, have the conviction behind what you do so that you can make lives better. Right? And there are more of you out there, but that's not on mainstream media. It's on the social medias if you're feeding that algorithm, right? Not feeding the algorithm. If you keep getting negativity, well, that means you're responding to it somewhere on the line, right? It's picking up that algorithm. If you want to find the people in the right like and the right energy and the right positivity and the right creation, feed that algorithm. And that goes for everything that you do. What is your vibe that you're sending out? And that ripple effect that we can have. Yes, we could reach all 8 billion. We certainly can. And it does start. Common denominator is that we do matter. We do matter. Now we've got to find out how we matter and whom we matter to.
Okay. And that's the search that you go on. That's the journey. And you really, I mean, in honesty, I mean, I've never handed the card to someone and they've gone, "Oh, this is crap," right? I mean, I don't
No.
know, no, because they all usually light up inside
Yes.
because they're craving it, right? You realize it when you hand the card to someone and their whole face changes, or they just say, "Thank you so much," or "This just made my day," or
And
"Yeah,
it
I was."
doesn't matter if they're successful people or people
Sure.
just at a crossroads in life. A
Right.
successful person often feels empty because they think everybody wants to be buzzing around me for what I could do for them. But does
Mhm.
anybody see me? And you saying to them, I see you, you matter. I see you. Not all the effect that you have, but you.
Right.
And that's what people want to know. Does anybody care?
My mind power coaching is really for high achievers because they actually sometimes feel that they don't matter most of all because they're
Yeah,
doing something big. And like you said, it's a doing, but am I being
yeah.
exactly what I'm supposed to be? Is this worth it to me?
Mm,
And you also, high performers will fail, try, fail. There's a lot
mm-hmm,
of failure involved. You have to keep getting back up off the mat. And sometimes you're tired and go, I don't think I matter anymore. This just isn't worth it.
mm-hmm.
So my goal is to make sure that they're released in all their running parachutes and limiting beliefs to say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to break through this and not look back. That this
Yeah,
is something that I know that who I am is what people need. And we
exactly.
all should believe that who I am is what we need. And when you share your vulnerabilities and your struggles, we
Mm-hmm.
respect you more because we're all doing that.
Yeah.
We're all not talking about it, but we're all dealing with it. So when you're courageous enough, because I do storytelling too, I tell stories of courage, hope, and
Mm-hmm.
inspiration on a blog called Storytelling for Business. And it's business, but it's the personal journey of the
Yeah,
person.
yeah.
And we all want to know what it is you've gone through because we either empathize, right? Or we learn from it, or we
Mm,
just see you differently. Because
yeah.
especially you read the story of someone you don't like as a person, you read
Mm,
what they've been through, all of a sudden your perception does a 180.
yes.
You're like, oh, now I respect that person. I didn't know they'd been through this. And that's why they react the way they do, because of the struggle that they face. Maybe I need to go out to them and say, hey, you know what? I just read your story. You matter. That was
Yeah.
really cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
and you know the we may not like particularly the journey that they've taken, and you know we see them as this big symbol of something, but if you actually understood the struggle to get there, you know what one of the people I like very much is Trevor Noah, you know,
Mhm.
formerly of the Daily Show and a comedian, and you know his book, you know, Born a Crime, because he's born black and white, you know, and literally it was a crime back in those days, but he did a talk with Jay Shetty and both very profound. But for what I loved about Trevor Noah was his ability, an absolute gift. Yes, he could make you laugh and all of that, but it was his ability to bring balance to the situation, balance to what we were looking at. Can laugh at it this moment, but look at it deeper at this moment. And that truly is a gift. And I think it, you know, for me, it became a reflection of look deeper. Yes, you're laughing at a situation, but why are we laughing? Or, you know, what does that situation need where we can empower it or empower the person? Right? We've become surface people because that's part of the control factor from media is to have us all along, right? And be obedient. And I'm not a sheep and I'm not even a sheep herder. It's all about inspiration and illumination, switching on the light inside of us and looking at the gift that we are. And every single one of us, every single one of us. And you know, you look at a CEO, look at a corporate building. If you walk in and a CEO, you're going to go and do business with them, you know, the Fortune 500, and you know, this is it. And you walk in and the place is dirty. What's your perception of the CEO when you get up there? That janitor has set the stage. The janitorial people and the cleaning and keeping everything pristine has set the stage for your perception. Our perception can change. So the janitor is just as important.
Yeah. You got to have a good team around you.
Yeah.
That's a good point, right? You got to be with the right people, right? You got to make people, not make, you have people around you that care, care about themselves,
Yeah.
care about the way things look, care about making a difference, care about other people who are going to see that. Like I said, you walk into the building and let's say it's clean and
Mm.
spotless. You go upstairs like, wow, this is pretty impressive. There's nothing better than good service. I mean, my,
Yes. Yes.
my wife and I have these discussions all the time. Like, I'm all about the person that is serving me and is kind
Yes.
and wants to do a good job. I will go back to that place and that establishment because
Hmm.
that's how they treated me. They made me feel
Yeah.
that I matter. And that's real important when they're, you know, when you're just another number
Yeah.
or, you know, just a piece of whatever, and they're just passing you by and they're doing you a favor by doing whatever it is that they're supposed to be doing. And it's a favor to you. I don't want to be a favor. I don't want to be feel like a favor. I want to feel like I make a difference, like I
Hmm.
matter to them. And so that's why I do it for other people. And it's, you brought up a good point. It's really selfish in a way.
Yes.
Because what do I get out of
Yeah.
handing someone a card and their eyes lighting up inside, they're
Yes.
tearing? Are they
Hmm.
saying thank you? I believe then that I matter too because I just made a difference in that person's life. And I need that too. That makes me feel good. It makes me understand that I matter. That's really,
Yeah.
someone once asked me, you know, how did you come up with it? And one of my very close friends, he said, was there a time you believe you did? And of course, there was a time I
Yeah.
believed I did. And maybe that's why I'm so strong with this, because I
Hmm.
don't want other people to ever feel the way I felt, that I didn't matter. I grew up with a speech impediment. When I was young, I didn't realize it till I can first remember it, like in fourth grade. I was bullied in the new neighborhood that I walked into when I was 7. I had issues just trying to get dates because of my speech impediment that I tried to hide as if it was a disability. And eventually I grew out of it, but I've had my own struggles. And so you get over those and past them, and I powered through them like the buffalo, come to the other side. Now you're like, wow, I can make a difference because I've suffered through this too. And I know that there is light on the other side of it. And having a speech impediment is not a disability, and it might just be what you have. It doesn't mean you can always get
Yes.
past it based on your physical self. But if you can't, then that's still beautiful because you are surviving, you're living, and other people respect that.
Yeah. I call that flawsomeness. Every
Awesomeness.
single one of us has a flaw of some kind, right? But that flaw makes us unique. And we can be
Mhm.
awesome in our uniqueness. So flawsomeness, right? So it's we look at our flaws or things that are wrong with us, and they think then therefore I must be wrong. There must be something wrong with me. No, this is just your beautiful flaw that makes you unique. It's your challenge to greet, right? It's your challenge to define and present yourself. When somebody we meet doesn't have a leg or an arm, do we go, well, gosh, I'm not going to talk to you, you're legless. We don't. We look at them, I've interviewed quite a number of people who have actually been born without arms or have lost limbs due to various things or veterans, etc. and that. In the losing of something, because actually they've gained so much more, right? So whatever we lose in life wasn't there to punish us. It wasn't there, to make us feel less than. Half the time it's to tell you you don't need that anymore. It's time to move on.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you 100%. And we all have things happen to us. So it's, you are more. I just saw Chad Hymas speak. And if you look him up on social media, I mean, but he was paralyzed 22 years ago when a 2,000 pound bale of hay fell on top of him. And I just saw him last month in his wheelchair give a talk, and he just broke the Guinness Book of World Records, traveling 3 million miles by himself.
Yes.
By himself. He doesn't have an entourage. He does
Uh,
this on his own. People help him for the goodness of their hearts because people do
because
want
they're
to help.
inspired, inspiration, right?
Right,
Yes.
right. And so it's incredible hearing him talk. And if he can do that, if he can travel around the world telling his story, and
Mm.
everyone's like, "Oh my God, look what he's doing," then when you spill your Starbucks coffee, you might not want to get so upset because that's not the worst thing that can happen. Look at
Ex-
Chad and what he does every single day. You have a lot more inside of you
Yeah,
and a lot more to give than you think. In fact, we're only operating at a percentage of what it is that's possible
I
that we can
know.
do in this world.
And I think that's kind of the next evolution of humankind while we're being so tested right now, is that are we willing to rise up? And the first thing that needs to rise up is our consciousness, and that consciousness of kindness, caring, compassion, giving, and love. When we step up into that frequency, we're literally turning the hertz up in our body, and we're resonating on a total different vibration. That opens up our clarity, opens up our whole psyche mind to other things that we're capable of. And, we are merging into the technologies like AI, and it's not like AI and you. It's like, how can I use AI where we can merge together to even expand even further? Because as human beings, we do reach a physical limit. So why do we come up with these beautiful creations? Well, these creations are meant to work with us to allow us to extend even further. Don't limit yourselves with limited thinking. Be willing to be wondrous and constantly willing to explore, right? You matter through every stage of your life. And you've closed the door on one thing, the end of that chapter, like you did 8 years ago, end of a chapter. It was a new path for you to take. And everything you've done before prepared you to do what you're doing now, to do it well. So don't be afraid to open up a new door. You matter no matter where you go, no matter what you're doing. Always carry that with you, but be willing to explore.
We can all try things and see if they work, right? Don't be
Yes.
afraid, and don't be afraid of what people think. I mean, yes, we all care about that, like I said, but we care too much because people really aren't paying attention
No.
to what you're doing, right? And so, in fact, I saw a drawing once in a book. It's called "You Are Awesome," and he had the cartoon in there of you think that everyone's looking at you, or
Yeah.
that's all these stick figures, everyone's staring at you, and you're in the middle. And then the other page is the reality, which is you're in the middle and everyone's on their phone. No one's
Yes.
looking at you. No one's paying attention. The fact that you fell down or a piece of your clothing was torn or your flies down, or believe me, it's not
You
ruining your
farted. Who cares?
correct. Nobody, they might talk about it for a day and then they're
Yeah.
going to move on because I got news for you. Their own shiitake is happening and they don't have time
Yes.
to think about you. Because the
Exactly.
reality is we're all thinking of ourselves
Uh-huh.
to make sure that we're okay. But I've said this to people in my life, like if you're out, I'm so embarrassed. Why?
Yeah.
If you did something silly, you fell down, you spilled a drink, whatever, and you're so embarrassed and you have to leave, believe me, these people are not talking about you. You're making way too much of yourself. You
Or if
think
they're
that these
talking about
people
you in
are
the moment, the
right.
thing is, if you do fall, and believe me, I've done my fair share of falling, skirts up over my nose, etc., like that. And it's like, who's going to help me get back up? Make light of it.
Right.
Laugh at yourself and go, oh my God, my backside. It just that breaks the ice and that allows people to help you get back up where they feel good for helping you. And it's like, oh yes, I fell down the other week, right? And then we kind of realize we all fall down sometimes. It's
Mhm.
how do we choose to get back up, either on our own or asking for help?
Right. Just don't, when you fall on your skirts on your nose, just don't fart at the same time.
Yeah,
Double whammy.
the triple whammy. I think, we've all become so incredibly self-conscious. And we all believe, as you say, everybody's judging us. And we are incredibly judgmental species,
Mhm.
right? But then a lot of that judgment comes from, I don't understand. So instead of asking, why did you do that? Or why is this happening? Or why this? Can I understand? It becomes a judgment. Well, I don't know. I don't understand why she's not doing it. So therefore it must be wrong. So can we put the judgment down and can we put the understanding up and ask the questions?
Mhm. Look at someone else differently, because opinions, right? So opinions
Yeah.
are what we all have, and opinions are based on education and experience. And so imagine you have a movie, right? Like the movie of your life, let's say, is 84 years. And you meet someone, or the movie of their life is 84 years. You meet them on the street one time. They say something you don't like or don't agree with,
Mhm.
again, based on your education experience versus theirs. You box them, dismiss them,
Mhm.
and you're done. So you took a snapshot of that
Yes.
person's movie, one frame of their
Yeah.
entire life, and you decided that they don't matter. How
Yeah.
dare you take
Mhm.
someone's entire movie and say, oh, that's not worth it, just by
Right.
one thing that you heard or was said, or that you don't agree with, or don't, like you said, understand, you refuse
Mhm.
to ask a question. You should just say, hey, I'm fascinated by that. And then whether you agree with it or not, that's fascinating.
Mhm.
That's an easy way to get out of it, right?
Yes.
Fascinated by that. So you can't let opinions rule your life, nor let other people's opinions of you rule their life, because it's,
And
they
there's an
didn't
awful
grow
lot
up
of
like you did.
exact, but there's an awful lot of people that are very opinionated and they're very forceful on their opinion. We see it on the news the whole time.
Mhm.
They speak as if they're the authority on it, and therefore it must be, right? But it's like, thank you for your opinion. I'll take that under consideration. You are allowed to back off and go, no, this person's energy is not for me, right? Or I don't agree with that. So therefore, I don't want to get into discussion because I know it's going to be one-sided. So, I'll take it into consideration and redirect, which is okay. Trying to understand them sometimes might be hard if they're not willing to explain because they're still in dictatorial mode.
And also the thing that you don't like about someone, right, is really a reflection of what you don't like about you.
Mm-hmm.
You just happen to see it in the mirror, like, oh, just, it happens with your kids all the time.
Yeah.
What I don't like about my, what, no, it's not what I don't like. What sometimes triggers me about my
Mm-hmm.
children, when I really look at it, it's like, oh, she's being me. That's something I don't like about myself. She's a piece of me, right? She's a
Yeah.
genetic, representation of myself and my first wife. So that's that's okay, right? But it's really you not projecting, but just seeing something inside of someone
Yeah.
else that is reflection back on what you don't like about yourself. And too many people don't take a look at that, and they go,
Yeah.
oh, it's that other person. Well, maybe not. Maybe it's actually you, and maybe it's something you need to work on or get rid of, or
Yeah.
some, like I said, some running parachute that you're dealing with that you just
Mm.
never took the time to turn around and hug and said, you know what, this is okay. It's a part of who I am. And when I see it in someone else, I'm not going to get so upset.
Again, I've been doing this a long time. There's a lot of shows, and I find fun sometimes quite interesting. Certain weeks through the guests I have ends up being a common denominator theme, even though it might be different subjects, right? So, and one of the themes is the 10%. And the 10% are kind of the scars and the pains that you've had in your life that are always there, that 10%. And they raise their heads sometimes and want to kind of infiltrate the 90. And it's to look at them and go, loving, nurturing. We've been there, we've done that. Thank you for reminding me, but I'm going to feed the 90% of love, passion, and things like this. But to think that we step in to just 100%, oh la la, and I'm fine, is no, that's betrayed through the media, the Twilight Zone. But it is, we will always have a percentage of past pains, past scars that will be a reminder or sometimes kind of reflect up. But you've got to remember the percentage you're feeding. And it doesn't mean that you have to go back to that or it's crawling you back. It's asking you to acknowledge it.
Mhm.
Just acknowledge it, send out some loving care, or what are you trying to teach me right now? Uh, but what continue to feed that 90% and make that choice there. Because we can't outride on our pain or our, you know, I'm trying to find the way, I wish I hadn't done's. They were done, right? You can't undo them, but I wish I didn't do that at that time. And it's sometimes it's a reminder that, okay, you wish you hadn't done it then, so don't do it now.
It's a lesson. And
Yeah.
all negative experiences can, or just markers in time, can be filled with lessons and learnings. Another thing you bring up, Sarah, is it's about forgiveness, right?
Yes.
Forgiveness of other people and yourself.
Yes.
The greatest gift you give to yourself in your life is to forgive,
Yeah.
especially if someone else. I mean, sometimes it is about you if you did something really wrong, but forgiving someone else, you don't have to forget, but
No.
forgiveness,
No.
because it's like the Wayne Dyer talks about the snake bite and the venom, right?
Mm.
So the snake bite hurts for a second, but the venom, if you don't
Yes.
release it, that stays inside of you. And that's what takes people down early, because now you have stress, anxiety, maybe
Hmm.
revenge in your heart and in your bloodstream. And next thing you know, you have physical ailments because of that, because you never let it go. You didn't
Right.
take the time to forgive. I have a forgiveness process I put people through. And so it's that's your release in life. That can
Yeah.
lead you to a better existence by forgiving and forgiving you, because we
Yeah.
all make mistakes. Like you said, we're flawsome, flawed but
Hmm.
awesome. And so your flaws sometimes are going to show, and in ways that other people don't like. And
Hmm.
so you have to make sure that you forgive yourself and teach yourself a lesson. I'm not going to do this again. Nobody's
Right.
perfect. We're human beings. We're all fallible. Unfortunately, some of us are more than others, but with purpose, unfortunately. And
Yeah.
so we have to look, like I said, for the goodness inside of us. That's why
Yes.
New Matter
Yes.
movement is making sure as many people as possible believe that they do and believe that they love themselves and can take that and spread it around. Because the more awareness there is, the more focus on that, the better off we are as a human race.
What we can see quite evidently in the world right now and sometimes in ourselves is dis-ease, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're ill at ease. Well, we don't want it to become the disease. And hatred and fear and control and dominance, all of that is a disease. And we don't want to take it on to ourselves because when we do, excuse me, we really feel it and then we really project it.
I'm watching a show now on Netflix. It's the Living to 100, the Blue Zones. And those people, they eat the right foods as much as they can. They drink wine, not all of them, but they move around constantly. But it's community, it's laughter, and it's love. You don't see hatred in those groups. They're all as close as they can possibly be. They all support and love each other, and that's what keeps you alive. That's what keeps you going, because we're all social animals and we need each other, and we want to know that we are appreciated and loved. The greatest fear is not being loved, and the greatest craving is not believing that you matter. And in those communities, that's why they live to 100 plus, because they have people that love them. They have people
Yeah.
that care. They all support each other. They laugh at life. They continue to move about, because motion, will keep you going. They walk, they garden, and they eat at least as healthy as possible. You don't have to have perfect foods, but all those things combined. But the community, in every episode I've watched of this, it's all about the social
Yes.
interaction that they have, because we all need to lean on one another. No one wants to be on an island.
No.
Isolation is a gift in short spurts, but not as a lifetime. That's why the
Yeah.
worst thing is solitary confinement, right? To just
Yes.
be put
Yes.
in a place by yourself. That's torture. I mean,
Mm.
I bet some people would rather die and be put to death than sit in a cell for 25 years by yourself.
Oh, yeah.
That's bad.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pause for reflection, time for yourself to reflect, to go in, to heal, to um, set yourself free. Yes. It kind of being in an isolation and during that time is a good thing because it allows you that reflection. But to be what I used to do with the kids when they were being naughty, not playing nice, is I put them in the corner but facing everyone, right?
Mm.
You're seeing everybody having fun, right? You want to come and have fun with us? When the attitude changes, you can come back and have fun. Not facing the wall because then they just mad. But when they're seeing everybody else have fun, I want to be a part of it. What do I
Mhm.
have to do differently to be a part of it? Right. And that, is a good reflection for us all to have. But isolation, I've just written my memoir and my brother edited because he's a professor of literature. And he said, you talk about loneliness a lot. And I'm a very spiritual being and have always been so, especially at an unfashionable time. Um, and it was in the reflection of looking back on my book, because I just wrote it, it wrote itself, was looking at the lonely times in life. And what were the lonely times? It wasn't when I was alone, it's when I felt alone in a crowd, when I felt I didn't matter, when I felt I was unseen for who I was. I was seen for what they wanted from me, not seen for who I was. And I think when we're looking at people mattering, is yes, they do X, Y, and Z, but who are they? Have you paid attention to who they are? Their essence, their presence, their beautiful light. Are you seeing that? Because that's where we feel we matter.
Yep, it's unconditional love. It's
Mm,
it's one of the things I struggled with was accepting that from a grown woman too. That's one of the things that I finally got married because I
yes.
finally broke through that. Was part of my own running parachute, and I
Mm,
needed it was being given to me, but I couldn't accept it.
yeah.
And once I did, then it flowed out of me even greater, right?
Yes.
Because when you start to feel it, you're like, oh my goodness, finally I'm released. Now I can really give this. I always gave it to my children,
Right.
but not so much in the personal adult relationships that I had. And I knew I needed to do that to break free. And that's part of my You Matter movement too, is that unconditional love of everyone, of the fact that you make a difference, you're here for a reason, you have a purpose. We all want to know what it is. And can you take that? Can I inspire you to take that to the next level? Like I said, it's
Yeah.
just 2 words, but if you can take that, like you talked about, and then move forward in your path on your journey to be the very best version of you, maybe those 2 words inspire you to just take that step into the world with all your flawsomeness and let
Mm-hmm.
us see you in your grandeur, because we all need you. We need that light. We
Yes.
need that beacon. We all want to see that light because we're all drawn to it like moths to a flame.
Yes.
I'm not you, you're not me. But the fact that we can have a conversation and talk to one another and then hopefully inspire other people, that's what the world is looking for.
So we know that you're doing it this way and through podcasts and the cards and everything else. And of course, you've got health insurance services as well, which is really,
Yes.
really important. But just dive more into else of what else you're doing and how you're going to ignite all 8 million people into
Billion,
mattering.
billion, not million, billion, right?
Billion people, sorry, yeah, billions. Yeah, millions, nothing nowadays, right?
Right. Exactly. If Taylor Swift can put up out a song and get a billion downloads, I mean, hey,
Yeah,
let's go. That means a billion people downloaded it, right?
I
So,
know.
well, and music is universal. I mean,
Yes,
I mean, I actually am looking to become the sum of and take the person away from what it is that they did. But like Michael Jackson, Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey, those 3 people combined in one element to me is someone who used his musical talents like no
yes,
one else has ever done.
yeah,
A guy who created something that we didn't need called the iPhone and now can't live without.
exactly.
And then Oprah Winfrey, who decided that she wasn't going to be like everybody else in the
Hmm.
talk show reign, and she was going to actually bring people on and have them tell their stories
Yeah.
and share their vulnerabilities and make us all cry and feel. And that's a good thing, right? So she wanted to promote goodness. You combine that all in one ball of wax. That's what I'm trying to emanate.
Yes.
So I do have different things I've done. I was in TV, that made an impact. I've been doing health insurance for 20 years. That makes an impact because people really need it. It's a
Hmm.
service and it's about hope, helping other people every day. That's the
Hmm.
mission of our company. And then it's the You Matter movement, it's the podcasting, it's the writing. I've written a couple of books. I'm working on the You Matter book. It's storytelling, it's getting up and speaking. So all those things, I'm not keeping count of a billion. It's a metaphor,
Yes.
really, but
Yes.
it's the trying to make the biggest impacts I possibly can and doing all I can with all I have been given and not being afraid to do it and
Hmm.
not worrying about the fact that people are going to like it or not like me or hate me. Or if you're doing big things, you're going to have haters. If you're doing big
Oh,
things,
yeah,
you have
and that is
it's
because
attractive.
they don't want to do it themselves because they know that it means they've got to put the work in.
Right.
The finger pointers I point, it's you, it's you, it's you, you're all the problem. There's three fingers pointing back at you, going, well, where's your accountability, your responsibility? What are you doing about it? Right.
Mhm.
And if we want to get to that place where we feel we matter, we are love, and we've got something to contribute, we've got to be willing to take the journey and do the work.
Everything takes work.
Everything takes work. The people that complain the most are the ones that don't want to work at it.
Just want it to be handed to you. And then look, I believe in a higher, whatever you believe in, I believe in a higher power and I ask
Yes.
God for these
Yes.
gifts. And in my perspective, my perception is that God always says yes.
Yeah.
So whatever you ask for, he's going to say yes for. Now, whether you are willing to open the gift, the
Hmm.
box, that's up to you. That takes work. Take the ribbon off, open it up and go, oh, this is great. I'm going to have to do something to be that person. To accept this gift, I have to become that person. Like you can't become a millionaire or get $1 million until you become a millionaire. That's why people who win the lottery just blow it all. They haven't
Yeah.
become millionaires inside yet.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Accept it. And money is a amplification of who you are. So if you're really good, then money makes you even a better person and a giver. If you're a real a-hole, then it makes you a bigger a-hole.
Right.
So the goal is to be a
Exactly.
good person, right? And
Yes.
attract that towards you. So it's just money's just energy. And the energy you give off, you will
Yes.
attract. So if you're giving good off good energy, for the most part, it's going to come back to you, perhaps in dollars and cents, as well as other things.
I think, for me, it's always about where is your enrichment and abundance of self. That's where the true wealth lies.
Mm-hmm.
Money is just a byproduct of that. But if you're not enriched and abundant within yourself, then you're poor. I
Right.
don't care how much money you have, because that enrichment is the enrichment of the gift that you were given. That abundance is how you're going to share it out, right? So be enriched and abundant within yourself. There is a certain amount of narcissism and ego that you have to have, is that I want to be that enrichment, I want to be that abundance so I can share it out. But if you're doing it because it's going to make me rich, then you're doing it for the wrong reason.
Correct. Just like the health insurance, people think it's just a money thing. If you're in
Mm.
sales, right? Well,
Yeah.
sales is the oldest profession on one of the oldest professions on earth, because always things have always had to be bought and sold. If you're
Yes.
doing it for the reason, like I talked about,
Mm-hmm.
based on the mission of hope, helping other people every day,
Yes.
then yes, dollars will eventually follow. Because if the core of what you're doing and your purpose is to really get the person to a better place than you found them,
Mm-hmm.
which is what I try to do, then you're successful. And if not, it'll eventually catch up with you, because if you try to cheat people to get the dollar, whenever you chase the dollar, it takes you down. Because it's, even if you get it, it's short lived. It's not
I
going to
know.
be meaningful. It's not going to be residual income, because if the person you cheated doesn't like the plan, they cancel it. Well, I don't then get residual income
Right.
on year after year after year. So what am I doing? It's a one hit and then it's gone, and
Yeah.
it's meaningless. So
Yes.
it's about making sure you take good care of people, to make sure you take good care of people. They take good care of you, and then they
Yes.
talk about you and they go, oh,
Exactly.
Mark
Ripple
doing this
effect
job
again, right?
because right,
Yeah.
it's an introduction to someone else. So
Yes. Yeah. That's what we want. We want to ripple things out. Some people head for the ivory towers, and I go, no, because if you're not paying attention to the foundation, you will crumble. But I'm about the arm in arm around the world, right? Or the hand in hand around the world, where we form a circle, because in that circle, I believe, is unbreakable. It has such a bond of energy from one hand to the next, that if there's a missing link, somebody's energy goes down, you know what to feed. You feed that missing link to bring it back up again. If there's a surge of energy, then it's downloaded to be shared amongst everyone else. And, it's my sister's a little ignorant to what I do. She's older than me, from a different world in many ways. And she's a news junkie. So she's on watching the news all the time, and then has to play it back to you, right? But she once looked at me and she said, "You're just a do-gooder a do-gooder communist." Do-gooder
yes.
communist. Okay, all right, okay. Not quite sure how you got there, but the communistic idea is because I believe in helping everybody, right?
Mhm.
And does that make me a do-gooder? If that's the way you want to see it. But if for me it is, if that's the short or the narrow vision that you see of it. But I think, okay, well, I'll take that, because communism first started out of everybody being collectively working together, right? There wasn't the hierarchy or everybody was coming together, commune. So I think that if we look at it as that, nobody's going to get fed in the village unless I do my part in it. Everybody's got a part to feed that village. Everybody's got a role to feed that village. And that village is only as strong as all of our participation. And if we
Mhm.
look at everyone, including the village idiot, as mattering, everybody matters, then that village will stay strong and it will be able to grow and expand in strength. And I think we're not asking you to go out there and reach that 8 billionth person over there. We're asking you to reach the person next to you and inspire that person to help the next person, and so on, because that's where the change really solidifies.
The one to the left of you, the one to the right of you, the one
Yes.
in front and behind you, right?
Yeah.
That's my mastermind power coaching program is about that. It's about, again, empowering people with mental toughness and emotional resilience. And when you
Yes.
can do that and get more people to feel like that they can go after and do big things in their lives, that makes a big difference because we want people that can do big things. I
Yes.
mean, you can do small things and obviously you still matter, but we need a few people to step into their
Higher
presence,
role.
their
Yeah.
higher role, their higher power, and go, oh, wow, I can
I
really
mean,
take to the next level. I'm not afraid. I'm
no,
going
no.
to
We,
take a
we, we need
chance.
the conductor of the orchestra. We need the soloist of the orchestra. But that doesn't mean if you're the triangulist that you're not important. You may not be in every piece, but the piece you're in, you count, right? So it's understanding that if people are taking on those higher roles, they're also taking on a lot more responsibility, right? So they need just as much love as everyone else because they've taken on more for us to lead us in the right direction. So everybody's here designed for a particular reason. It is up to us to what is that reason and how can I serve? Because we're here. We're here to serve one another. And let's serve it with love.
Yes. You're right. For every level, there's another devil. So you have
We,
to decide how much drama do you want in your life is how high you want to go. If every level you go up, there's more drama to deal with, right?
yes,
So how much drama are you willing to accept in your life to take it to the next level? And some people don't realize that they want to be this thing up here, but they don't realize when they get there how much drama is involved in that, and they're not prepared for it. And then they self-destruct. So
yeah,
you got to that's why there's no such thing as an overnight success if you're truly going
no,
to be successful. When you rise to the top immediately, it's not going to be short lived because you can't handle it. You didn't build yourself up,
yes,
and you built your foundation on sand, and now you're sinking. Like you talked
right.
about that
Well,
tower that's on
the
sand.
millionaire mindset, you may be a millionaire, but where's the mindset around it, right? You've got to
Right.
have the mindset so that when it comes to you, you know what to do with it, you know how to value it. But if
Mm-hmm.
it comes that quickly, easy come, easy go. So there are reasons why we put one foot in front of the other.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And there's a reason why we ask you to pay attention to your surroundings and what you're walking on, where you're walking, and the people along the way. I used to be the hare, want to get to the finish line, had an idea. Let's get to the finish line, let's get it open. Right now, I've become the tortoise. And as the tortoise, I'm gathering people along the way. I'm paying attention to my surroundings and the awesome, beautiful people that I meet along the way. And it's enriched and empowered me so much more than ever the rush to the finish line.
There you go. That was perfect. That was a good
Now,
way to explain it
how do
there.
people listen to your podcast? How people get your books? How do they reach out to you and how can you help them other than the health insurance?
Sure. The books are on Amazon. I wrote a book called It Takes Two, Surviving Breast Cancer for a Spouse's Story. I have a book called The Sunday Series, which is stories of courage, hope, and inspiration on the blog that I started years back.
Mhm.
In terms of my mind power coaching, I have if you go to youmattermb.com, that's my You Matter campaign. You can have links to everything there. And as far as my Instagram page is Mark_Brodinsky. If you want to kind of check out the mind power stuff. But I also have a You Matter Instagram. It's called the You Matter Guy. So search You Matter Guy on Instagram. You'll see all around the world I've taken these cards, and you'll
Mm,
see examples from France and Italy
yeah, lovely.
of the people holding in their language, holding up the
Mm,
cards too. So we tried to make it a worldwide campaign um, to just make sure that we're going to touch every corner of the planet with this. So it's the
yeah,
websites, it's the books, and that's really it. I mean, I have a storytelling blog. If you go to markbrodinsky.life, you can see all the stories that I've written and what my mission is. So I've got a couple different places you can see besides the health insurance,
right,
which is still a big part of what I do. But it's about making a big impact in a lot of different ways because
right.
I'm very few people just have one skill or talent. You
Yeah.
probably have multiples. You have to stay within your zone of genius, maybe two or three, which
Hmm.
is what I try to do. For me, it's write, speak, inspire.
Right.
And so everything I'm doing falls into those three things. Even the health insurance is inspiration
Hmm.
because I have to inspire people to say, hey, take action. You need this. You need to make a change. So it's all part of the same
All
formula.
part of the same tree trunk, deeply
All part of who
rooted.
I am.
Those are just your branches on your
Mhm.
tree, right? So yeah, I always say to people, you can branch out as much as you like, as long as you all belong to the same tree and the same root, because then it will be sturdy. The trunk and the roots are giving the branches their strength, right? So that you can grow those branches, you can reach out. But if all of a sudden it's a different tree and a different branch, then you're spreading yourself too thin and you're not being contained. So contain it to the instrument that you are, right? And then you can branch off.
And your instrument's beautiful. And like Wayne Dyer says, don't die with the music inside of you.
Yes,
Right?
exactly.
Make sure you play that symphony until you're ready to go, because it's not over until they start tossing dirt on you. That's when it's over.
Right. And that's only over of the body. It's not over of the heart and soul. That will carry on in some form or other. So, but what we do in this lifetime does count. So you matter, make it count, step into your meaningful purpose and your awesome flawosomeness and share. That's what it's all about. Right. Thank you so much. I love it. You matter. I have another gentleman that goes around sharing smiles. And all of this counts because it is that ripple effect. You're doing it one card at a time, one talk at a time. I'm doing it one show at a time. And I think that's the thing, is when we realize it's the shorter, the one at a time, or the small groups at a time. I don't want the big rah-rah, 50,000 people in an arena, rah, 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 because it's like a sugar high. Does it stay with them? And when you can actually, the one person or the 2 or 3 people or the small groups at a time, that you can really reach them, then you know that there's going to be so much more impact coming out of them because of it. So yeah, just keep on going. This is your purpose till, as you said, the last shovel is shoved on.
Yeah. And if one person can impact 1,000, that's the point. Like I said, just do it in small doses. So, I mean, I'll have you on my podcast in return for what you've done for me on my You Matter podcast, which is on all the streaming services, if you're going to look for it. So, yeah, I just love talking to people, learning about their stories, as do you. And so that's what makes a difference in the world. Our stories matter. Our stories tie us all together.
Yes.
Your storyteller, right? Our stories are the thread that run through our entire existence on this planet. There's something called the Bible, which was the first story, right?
Yes.
And so stories connect, stories inspire, stories teach, stories matter because human beings matter.
Right. And really, bottom line is, we want to know, at the end of our days, did our story have a good impact on someone? Right? Did we leave some inspiration behind? Has our story touched someone that's ignited them on their journey? And that's what we want to know. We're all a story in making, right? We've got many chapters in our book of life, and there'll be different chapters. We don't want one flat linear book. We want interesting chapters. So be interesting in your own life. Inspire yourself, right? Make those discoveries about yourself you didn't know you knew.
You want your story to be interesting. We all want to, like we talked about, we all want to know your journey, your the good and the bad, because I've heard it said, if you picked up a book, let's say, and you read chapter 1, everything's fine. Chapter 2, everything's fine. Chapter 3, everything's fine. Would you read the book? No, it's not interesting. No. But our lives are not like that. Our lives are very interesting. So share what it is you've got to, to what you've done with your life, what you're going to do with your life, the struggles you've been through. We all are interested in you. Trust me.
Yes, because we learn so much about ourselves through your story. It's a reflection back of, you did what? I did that. You got through it how? You did what? That, as I say, even with a podcast, and I'm sure you agree, you can listen to a podcast once and you get this out of it. Come back and revisit it like a book. And I missed that last time. And the information that stands out is what's relevant to you in the moment. Go back and revisit, right?
100%.
Thank you so much for sharing. It's been wonderful having you. And please keep this going, because you matter. I matter. Everybody else matters. And when we step up and to understand how we matter, right? That's where we make the difference. And you can disagree and agree to disagree and not really like somebody else's path. It's not for you, but they still matter. They still matter. We all do. And one of the biggest problems is we're dictating who matters and who doesn't. No, we all matter. We're all here for a reason. The only things that aren't here for a reason are mosquitoes. Still trying to find out what they're here for. Okay, thank you so much for being here. And to everyone else out there, would you please reach out to people you know, whether you do it by email, by phone call, by text, by social media, whatever, and literally tell them they matter. And if not 30 things, give them 5 things of why they matter to you. Please do that. 5 things of why they matter to you. All right? Because that's important. But it's important that they know. Don't let them assume. Tell them. So until next time, folks, bye for now. We hope that you enjoyed the show. There are so many more for you here on selfdiscoverywisdom.com. Just go to the podcast tab at the top there and you will see all the many genres and all 3,000 shows ready for your listening. We are here to serve you, to help you on your journey of life, and we know that through inspiration, it begets invitation. We are supported by you, the listeners, and those that we interview. Anything that you can spare us in donation would be greatly accepted, and we do hope that you enjoy the next show.